A little overcast, but good weather for racing. Hello everybody, whether you're joining us around the world on IMSA Radio, part of the Radio Show Limited network, IMSA TV, also available on imsaradio.com, or on 98.1 FM, Road Atlanta FM. It's great to have your company for what has been just an outstanding season of racing, and we're not finished yet in the Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup. I'm John Hindhaugh, and joining me in our IMSA Global Broadcast Centre from her position within the tower at the end of the lap is Shea Adam, and we'll be calling the action for you this afternoon. Road Atlanta, Brazelton, Georgia, is one of the most challenging bits of racetrack around the world. It's one that particularly suits Mazda MX-5 Cup racing. I'm delighted to say that I have driven this in a Mazda, never raced it, but have driven it at speed in an MX-5 Cup car, and it's a real challenging circuit, but immensely satisfying if you get it right. Turn 1, maximum commitment. Over the brow at turn 2 into turn 3, that's a tricky place, and it caught me out. Down through the S's into turn 5, hammer that curb on the exit, then an overtaking opportunity in turn 6. Through turn 7, one of those corners that you always think that you can take a little more speed through until you try it, and then you end up on the dirt. And then the long run down to turn 10 and the bottom of the hill. MX-5 have not raced here since 2016, and we have 23 of them on the grid. They're lined up in echelon formation on the pit lane, with the MX-5 safety car in front of them. And it would seem that just before the race, we have had a proposal in the pit lane, Shea Adam.
One of our pit officials, so congratulations to her and her significant other, waving and cheering. Lexi, I want to see the ring after this race. Looks like a good one.
And is that Lexi?
Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah. Well, the ring is on the finger, it fits. She said yes, and, well, what better way to do it than at a race weekend? And we've got photographic evidence as well down there. Well, theirs two are going to be close together forever, as Mazda MX-5 leave the pits, Phil leaves the pits. And good partnerships are hard to come by. Motorcycle and sidecar, they go together really well. One man and his dog, Lexi and her fiancé. Very good. Very good indeed. So, rolling now on the formation lap. And here's how they will line up. Starting at the back of the grid. Actually, we've had someone put to the back of the grid. That's Drake Kemper. He was late out onto the grid, but he would only been starting in 20 seconds. So effectively, he and Aaron Johnson change positions at the back. So it'll be Drake Kemper at the back in the number 99 Provision Motorsport car. Then it's the 24 Aaron Johnson in the dark red car. In 21st, Lonnie Unser. Her car was damaged in qualifying, and she will not be taking part for Hickson Motorsport. Then it's Slipstream Performance with the number 12 car. Then the Hickson Motorsport at number 63. Alex Pachura in 18th position in the 33 car for Slipstream. Then it's David Starb for Slipstream Performance in the 36. It's Heinemann in the JTR Motorsports, number 82 in 16th position. 15th, Jensen Altman for McCumbee Racing. He'll go forward from there. It's McIntosh, one of the rookies for JTR, in the 69 car in 14th. In 13th position on the inside of row 7 is the Hickson Motorsport car for Alan Berg. Then on the 6th row of the grid, it is Mojca Uretsky for McCumbee Racing, Peter Atwater for JTR Motorsports at 11th, and in 10th, Chris Nunes, one of the top-flying, high-flying rookies. He's got Luca Mars there alongside him. Then it's Palermo, Zilch, Piscatel, Carter, Thomas, Paley, and the front row, Celine Roland and Gresham Wagner. So the championship protagonists on the front row, they come to the line with 45 minutes on the clock, and we are racing for the first race this weekend for Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 at Road Atlanta. Good start by both of the front row drivers. Looks as though Gresham Wagner has got the drop on the field as they go through, down through the S's for the first time. The championship still, Shea Adam, very much alive.
Yes, it is, but Gresham Wagner is the guy who leads the way in the points with the 100-point gap coming into today's race. He stretched that out to 110 by getting the pole position points. Now he's looking to try and claim 10 more points for leading the most laps in this race and an extra 10 points for the fastest lap. I don't think he can tie it up today unless there's some serious misfortune from Michael Carter and the 08 machine. But Gresham Wagner looking to do everything he can to try and eliminate the car behind him, Celine Royan.
Yeah, mentioned Lonnie Unser, unfortunately. Big accident to her car. The team couldn't get it fixed in time, but she is staying on. She will be going to the banquet later on this weekend. She's had a fabulous season and been improving all the way. At the front of the field, battle for the lead positions. Down into the turn 10 complex, still the number 5, Gresham Wagner, that leads it, but only just. There was a challenge there by Celine Roland. Sam Paley's dropped back a little bit. He started 3rd. I think he's down in 5th at the moment. Yes, he is. He crosses the line in the black number 28. So he's lost some positions. The driver making up some spots is Jared Thomas for JTR Motorsport in the number 96, the silver car, in 3rd position. And of course, as I say that, I've cursed him, and he's got the 08 right alongside him, Michael Carter for Carter Racing Enterprises, and he goes through at the top of the hill. That was a bold manoeuvre by Michael Carter, but respectful, and everybody comes away.
And I managed to talk to Michael Carter yesterday, John. He's a hometown hero. He's got about 16 friends that are coming out to the track this weekend just because they want to cheer him on. And he's a student at Georgia Tech, very local to the area. He knows this track. He was hoping that there might be some rain so that those top 3 cars in the championship, and coincidentally in the race right now, might be able to pull away from everyone else. We don't need rain. They're going to do it on their own.
It's been an interesting season, and we've talked to the drivers concerned in the battle for the championship a number of times about tactics, and you would think in a championship that's so close, how can they possibly think of tactics with so much going on? But they do try and make a gap and cut the potential winners from pretty much the top 15 down to a manageable 6, 7 or 8.
You're right. And the funny thing is that I was actually, when I was talking to Michael, Aaron asked him a question: where do you want to be coming out of the final corner on the last lap? Michael said, I'll let you know with about 3 laps to go. That's when I'll have figured it out. The mental capacity of these drivers is so great that they're thinking about trying to make that winning pass right at the end of the dying moments of this contest.
Shea Adam with me, John Hindhaugh, side by side. 2 of the white cars. Unusual to have 2 white cars. That was Berg and Altsman battling and fighting over 13th position. Jensen Altsman, the McCumbee McAleer racing car, and the number 22 of Alex Berg from Hickson Motorsports. I think they remained in the positions. 3 wide for a moment there. Who's gone off and turned at number 5? That was, I think, Luca Mars. It is Luca Mars. Luca Mars in the 41 went very wide at turn 5, so far off, in fact, that he had to rejoin further down the track, and that caused problems for 1 or 2 cars behind him. I think that was Chris Nunes and Moise Uretsky who had to avoid him rejoining. So a moment, if not an actual accident, for Luca Mars, and that's cost him at least a couple of positions at the front of the field. These cars make a big hole in the air, and the draft is very powerful here, and through goes Celine Roland, and he's hung the leader out to dry. So Wagner, who was leading, is going to go down into 3rd position behind Roland and Carter, who's gone through. And it looks like Jared Thomas is coming through as well with that yellow roll hoop on the JTR 96. So from leading this lap And 2 corners before the end, it's 4th position across the line for Gresham Wagner, but he's fighting back into the first corner, and he's got Sam Pearley in the black number 28. Oh, it's a little touch there. And that's a very wide entry into turn 1 for Gresham Wagner, and he's losing a lot of places. This is huge for the championship share.
This is massive, and all it took was getting a little bit off of where he wanted to be for this whole thing to then pursue out. Going into turn 1, he actually got a nudge in the right rear quarter panel, right at a spot on the track where you really don't want that to happen. But I'm just worried a little bit about Sam Pearley. I think he is focusing on this rookie championship, John. He started off in 3rd, now back into 5th. Looks like he's dropping down a bit further, actually, off of Jared Thomas's bumper. He's a kid who's thinking, all right, there's $80,000 if I win the rookie championship. The guys around me are not rookies. I just need to stay ahead of Chris Nunes and keep the 150-point gap. I'll be golden. That's what Sam Pearley's thinking about right now, $80,000.
Yeah, over $500,000 in prize fund across this championship. Absolutely extraordinary amount of money that Mazda is putting in, and it is real folding dollars. It's not an allowance for racing somewhere else. Pearley comes down the inside and takes Thomas, and that is 3rd position going to Sam Pearley. So that will put him in a really good spot as the best rookie, and he's got drivers between himself and Chris Nunes. The 72, this is a very good run indeed for Connor Zilch from Mooresville, North Carolina. Not so far for him to come down here for the race this weekend, and this is a really good run for him in 5th position and 2nd in the rookies.
Yeah, and Connor Zilic actually just won the shootout for next year. He was the recipient of a $100,000 scholarship from Mazda. There are 8 scholarship winners in the race today. We've only got 22 cars in the field, so that's a 1/3 of the field who have benefited from Mazda's program. So we've got Zilic, Aaron Johnson in the 24, Chris Nunes, who we've been talking about in the rookie championship, car number 32, Savannah Little, car number 63, Jared Thomas, the silver car with the yellow roll cage, that's 96, Michael Carter, defending champion and looking to try and get back to that position in the 08. Celine Royan, who's leading the race in the 87 Autism Speaks car, and Justin Piscatel in that really cool looking blue with the yellow wheels and yellow roll cage.
We've barely had, in fact we haven't had 10 minutes of this race yet. Long line of Mazda MX-5 come into the country here in the US as street cars from Mazda in Japan, fanning out 3 wide behind the number 20 of Hernan Palermo. Nunes and Mars having a look down the inside. Mars has got his right sill hanging off. Palermo's had to go onto the grass, and he will drop 5, 6, 7, 8 positions there. That's how close it is. Tried to hang out on the outside into turn 10, got a little nudge in there from Gresham Wagner, who was down in 9th position at the time. We like close racing, but it's got to be clean. I suspect that will be looked at, but I think Gresham will get away with that in the rough and tumble of what was going on down there. So that will move him up a position or 2, puts Jensen Ultimate into the top 10. So the top 10, Ultimate at 10, Wagner at 9, Mars at 8, Nunes in 7th, Piscatel in 6th, then Zilic in 5th. The top rookie is in 3rd. That's just ahead of Jared Thomas. That'll be Sam Pearley, and then Carter and Roland Leeds. And that top 10, by the way, separated by 6 seconds at the moment. And as it stands, the points, we've got the abacus out here, and we're running it. Shoes, socks, everything that we can count on, we are counting on at the moment. At the moment, the points situation are tied between Gresham Wagner and Michael Carter. Could not get any closer, Shea Adam.
Well, Gresham Wagner actually, by dint of taking the pole position, has a 10-point advantage over Michael Carter as they run right now. But if Michael can get to the lead and lead the most laps, or set the fastest lap time, which currently belongs to Connor Zilic, he gets those 10 points.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the 10 points for pole position. Points for laps led as well. Hello to Drew Adamson, who is trackside listening on 98.1 FM. Drew, one of the hard-working team behind the IMSA Pro Series on iRacing, and that is going to continue, and IMSA and iRacing's partnership is expanding in the next few seasons. And Drew, trackside this weekend here at Road Atlanta. Pass on all of our best wishes to the hard-working team who bring those special events, Drew, won't you? For the hard work that you've done, particularly in the last 2 years. Now, Mike Globe sitting in 22nd at the moment. Normally a listener to IMSA Radio. So when he watches this one back, he'll hear us talking about him. He's got around about 7 seconds to catch up if he's going to make up a position. But he's on the back of the field at the moment. Meantime, down into turn 10. Michael Carter leads from Sam Pearley now in second. Celine Roland in third. The Hickson Motorsport white and black car in fourth position is that Zilish car. That's another rookie. And then Jared Thomas. That's your top five across the line, almost as one. Pearley goes to the inside, has to defend. Side by side, going up the hill. The multicoloured Autism Speed Hickson Motorsports car of Celine Roland. They're not really breaking away. Sixth position, Justin Piscatel is almost on the back of the leading five.
Yes, he is. And Sam Paley running around in second place. I've got to give him a lot of credit because he's been on the podium 5 times this year out of a possible 12 races. He leads the rookie championship. Remember, $80,000 for winning that one. But he hasn't won a race. And the guy who's chasing him in the rookie championship, Chris Nunes, did get a win at Mid-Ohio. So do you take the big check and take a lot of trophies, but you really want the big one? So how hard is Sam Paley going to push at the end of this one to try and get his first ever W?
Points paid right throughout the championship, down to 10th position in the overall. And that's a payout. Now Paley's getting the push. He's getting the bump draft from Celine Roland down into turn 10, and they've both dragged past Michael Carter. Zilic right in there as well. I'm very impressed with the shootout winner here. He's mixing it with the class of the 2021 field. Almost a dive down the inside from Carter on the multicoloured number 87, and for a moment with three across the track. It will be three wide going into turn one. And well, no, they've just dropped back in. Shea Adam is keeping an ear to race control. They watched some of the earlier incidents. Shea, what's the news coming from our stewards and race director?
Well, the incident between Jared Thomas and Gresham Wagner has been ruled inconclusive. That was the one at turn 1 that sent Gresham Wagner off. And then the incident between Gresham and Hernan Palermo also ruled inconclusive. That was the one at turn 10 that sent the llama farmer into the gravel.
Drama for the llama farmer. Hernan Palermo, you knew I had to get it in at least once this season. Coming down to the last 30 minutes. Top five still together with Justin Piscatel trying to hook himself on the back. Sam Pearley, the rookie, leads in the number 28 Macumbi Macalia Racing. That's the black Mazda. He's on to the long back stretch with a couple of kinks in it, but we talk about it as a straight because there might be a little bit of turning of the steering wheel, but there's no lifting off or braking. So as far as these drivers are concerned, that's a flat out run from turn 7 into the braking area at turn 10, which they are about now. And the noses of the Mazdas dive down towards the tarmac. Zilish comes through into third with a beautifully judged out-braking manoeuvre on Michael Carter and goes up into third. Carter now fourth. Jared Thomas sitting in fifth position with a great view of the action ahead of him. Justin Piscatel, frustratingly for him, in the Michelin Racing number 89, the blue car, as they head into the first corner again. Just frustrating, I think, that Justin's not quite there, and they're not quite fighting enough to slow themselves down. He's trying to get on the back of them, and all of a sudden he is on the back of them. So at turn 3, brilliant run through turns 2 and 3 from Piscatel, and now we do have the half dozen cars battling at the front of the field. And Shea, Adam, we were talking about winning a championship and how far down. There's a big difference between the cash payout from first and second in the championship.
Yes, there is. And even though they pay all the way down to 10th position, $250,000 for the champion, $80,000 for second place. And that is a big difference. But keep in mind, $80,000 for the Mazda series gets you a car, 2 practice sessions, qualifying, and 2 races on a weekend. That races broadcast on TV and to the world. So the best value in racing for $80,000. Second place means you can come back and do all this again.
Well, and that has absolutely been instrumental in some of these drivers doing multiple years. And in fact, we've had drivers say to us, haven't we, on Midweek Motorsport over on our sister service on RS1, complimentary service to IMSA Radio, that, you know, they enjoy this racing, and whilst there's this amount of money here, they can pretty much race for free if they finish well up in the championship, or certainly for a lot less than they would have to put in to move on to somewhere else. And they're enjoying it. And what's not to enjoy? Pack racing, really fantastically respectful of each other. It's been brilliant all year long, and I hope I haven't put the kibosh on it by saying that, but not being here for a few years, most of these drivers will not have raced here because they're so young. They took to the high banks of Daytona as if it was their second home, and they are turning in a similar performance here at Brazelton, Georgia. Just under half an hour to go. Pearley, Roland, Zilic, Carter, Thomas, Piscatel, Wagner. Altman now up into 8th ahead of Luca Mars, and Chris Nunez is down in 10th position. But there are still only 5 seconds now. Call it 5.5 between the top 10. So even though it's just spread out a little bit between the top 5 and the rest, it's still only a half a spin or a little bit of drama away from closing it all back up again. Here comes the draft down the back straight. Roland thinks about it, pulls out to the left, gets it. Zilic goes through. Zilic is great on the brakes down into 10. He was planning and scheming there in that black and white number 72, but he's up into second. Carter back down into third. And now it's Celine Roland who leads, and Sam Pearley, who was leading, back to 4th. That's the same story we've heard so many times. 2 groups of 3 now, Shares. They go across the line.
Yeah, and we did just mention that most of these guys have not raced here before. Well, we know that Michael Carter has raced here growing up not too far from the track. And last weekend, Jared Thomas, Justin Piscatel, and Connor Zilic were 3 of the 6 drivers in the race who were racing in Mazdas at this track for an SCCA event. So they do have recent track experience, although I will tell you the track today, very different from how it has been over the last couple of weeks, whether it's the cold weather that we've had here in Georgia or something.
Oh, big off at turn 5, and it is Zilic. She's gone off in that black and white number 72. Got wide. Now, did he jump or was he pushed? That's very fast through there, and that is a big off at that part of the circuit. Easy to get loose going in there, and I was just about to say that I saw the back end of Celine Roland's car moving around just before that. Too much curb on the inside, and that started the pendulum effect, and airborne for Zilic over the last part of the gravel trap. That's a cutout there for one of the other configurations of the track. You can run the short circuit. Now he's got the car running again. Both BF Goodriches on the right hand side are bereft of air, but the good news is he's got it running again. They're tough little cars, these Mazdas, built to full FIA specification with their roll cages and their door bars, also fire suppression systems. They can take a pretty good hit, I've been told. I'll tell you how I know that. at the front of the field. Carter leads from Roland and Paley across the line. So now 6 become 5, and Jared Thomas and Justin Piscatel are trying to hold on to this leading 3. Actually, Wagner's catching back up with them as well in the 5 car. He's only about a second, in fact less than that. He's there now. He's right on the back bumper of the blue Piscatel car. Well, that's been a fabulous drive back from Gresham Wagner, and this could be so important, Shane, in the hunt for the championships. Every car that he has passed to get back to 6th when he was on the outskirts of the top 10, that's extra points gained and an extra points advantage he'll take into the next race if he can stay in that position.
And guess what? If they stay as they currently run, again, 10-point advantage to Gresham Wagner. If you take away the qualifying 10-point, they are dead tied with the positions that they are in. So Michael Carter understanding how important it is to win this race, because that's the maximum amount of points that you can get out of this. He's going for everything. And right now, I think Michael Carter, the series champion from last year, the scholarship winner from the year before, he is playing things out, trying to figure out where he wants to be at the end of this race.
I'm racking my brain here, but I don't think a champion has defended the title in the modern era. And that's going to send you scuttling back to your record books. I know it is. 24 minutes to go. Carter leads from Roland in second, then Paley in the black car in third, then Jared Thomas in the silver Mazda with the yellow roll hoop.
Piece of paper.
I knew you would have.
Just need to find that piece of paper. Let's see. No, we haven't had back-to-back champions, but we have had John Dean II as champion twice. But you are correct. Nobody's ever done that.
Michael Carter giving himself the best opportunity at the moment. He's out front, but there is so much racing. We are just coming down to half distance. More action, excitement, incident and heart-stopping moments in half a Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 race than in half a season of most other championships. This is real racing. These are real sports cars. As I said, they come in from Japan as road cars. They are stripped down to their component parts and rebuilt into race cars. More than 200 specific race parts, including a sequential gearbox, the roll cage, all the safety equipment, brand new set of Multimatic suspension. But the engine remains untouched. It's the same 2.0 2-litre 4-cylinder inline engine, 180 horsepower that you would have in your street Mazda straight off the showroom floor. I nearly said the factory floor there, but you know what I mean. And in fact, the engine is sealed so that there can be no jiggery-pokery by the teams. Not suggesting that any of them would try to do that, but the playing field is level. And what that has produced this year is absolutely outstanding racing. If you don't believe me, go back onto the official IMSA YouTube channel and start looking for some of the highlight reels or even the full races from Idemitsu Mazda MX-5. They have almost single-handedly contributed me to losing my voice so many times this year.
Yeah, and if you want an idea of how good and close this racing is, the total margin of victory over the course of 12 races is 8 seconds. We have had 3 races where the margin of victory has been greater than 1.3 seconds. Everything else has been below a second for the win, including that brilliant race at Sebring International Raceway, where they were separated by the tongue of Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, and that was 3 cars coming to the line. And if you don't know what she's talking about, please go back and check that one out. More drafting down the back straight. Again, this time, though, it looks like Celine Roland isn't making an attempt to pass Michael Carter. And for a moment, they pulled out maybe a Mazda MX-5.5's gap back to Sam Paley, who's back in 3rd position. Then it's Jared Thomas. Gresham Wagner sits behind them. This has been a great recovery drive. Wagner's got by Justin Piscatel, who's just dropped off the pace a tiny bit, and we are talking fine margins. Now, we did see that number 72 Connor Zilic car from Hickson Motorsports here get back to the pit lane. I haven't seen him back out on track though.
Nope, official retirement. Word coming from the Mazda powers that we will not be seeing the 72 again for today's race. But that's not to say we won't see him again tomorrow. And I have to assume a little bit of responsibility for that, curse of the commentator. I was about to say how excited I am to see Connor Zilic race all next year.
Yeah, he will be. Well, on the basis of the half a race we've just seen, you've got to think that he will be a championship contender next year. Has this race finished the way he wanted? No, because he ended up in the wall at turn 5. Lap traffic, by the way, at turn 7. And that is Mike Globe making sure he's well out of the way of the leading half dozen cars. Nice driving, Mike, well done. But you've got to think, on the basis of what we've seen, Connor Zilic is going to, I mean, he'd be absolutely a good outside bet, maybe something better than that.
Yeah, Rookie of the Year contender for sure,
yeah,
but overall champion as well. You'd be hard-pressed to put your money on someone else after seeing the display we saw of a guy who raced in the series for half a race.
Yeah, side by side for the lead and for second and third. Roland trying to get round the inside, which becomes the outside, of course, as the left-hander of turn 10 goes into the right-hander of turn 10A. Behind them, Pearley and Wagner also just slowing each other up for a moment. So Wagner now up into 4th position, and the charge back from Gresham Wagner continues. Remember, he was right at the bottom end of the top 10 after being way offline at turn 1 in the early part of the race. This is a super drive back, and this could be championship defining here for Gresham Wagner in the red, white and black number 5 Spark performance car. Marvellous stuff.
I just heard a rumble over my shoulder and turned around. Mike Globe has come into the pit lane after going 1 lap down. I'll have to find out if everything is okay with his number 12. I just did a drive-through, getting out of the way of traffic. Very classy.
Okay. Well, he managed to stay out of the way of the leaders and did not influence the lead battle at turn 7, which is where the leaders are now this time around. Just on 18 minutes still to go. And that's going to give us somewhere in the region of 7-8 laps maybe to the end of this race. It's Carter, Roland, Pearley, Wagner, Thomas, Piscatel, your top 6. Then about a 3-second gap back to Chris Noons, who's got Luca Mars and Jensen Altman right behind him. And then a wee gap back to the Atwater number 26 car in 10th, side by side again for the 0, 8 and the 5. That's Carter and Wagner having got his way up to 4th is now back down to 5th and might lose 5th as well. Here comes Piscatel in the light blue car through the final corner. He's got a great run, will dive out to driver's right. Can't quite make it as they go towards turn 1. Are my eyes deceiving me, Shea? Or are the second group closing up? Nice dive down the inside from Wagner as he went for the position on the 0-8 of Carter, but ultimately cost him a little bit of momentum coming out of the turn 10 complex. Do you think that Chris Noons is leading a bit of a comeback here with Luca Mars and Jensen Altman? They seem to be a little bit closer.
There's definitely some Jaws music that's getting queued up in the PA booth next door. I can feel that all the way. But Luca Mars, Chris Noons, they're fighting each other right now for second place in the rookie championship. Luca Mars needs quite a bit of help. He's 130 points behind Chris Noons, but he knows that if he's behind Noons at the end of this one, his chances of getting around are not going to happen.
Big mistake from Roland and Pearley, way off the track at turn 7, slowed each other up massively, and they've dropped now off the lead group. Now we've got Carter back at the head of the field. We've also got Mike Globe with a little spin out on the circuit as well. That's at the top of the hill at turns 2, 3. Easy to do. That's too much curb on the inside. Massive championship implications, and for Sam Pearley in the rookie championship as well. He and Celine Roland dropped back at turn 7. So it was Roland and Pearley who were leading at that point, and now it's Carter from Thomas, from Wagner, from Piscatel. Roland down to 5th. Chris Noons goes across the line in 6th, and Pearley now in 7th. Yeah, they just got hooked together towards the middle of the corner, the apex of turn 7. And the top four, well, the four following them, should I say, third down to sixth, all went through. So Piscatel now a little bit off the top three, but in fourth position. Third is Gresham Wagner. What a comeback it's been for him from the bottom end of the top 10. And now the drivers who've got to use all of their BF Goodrich tyre performance and every single cubic centimetre of horsepower from the 2-litre 180 horsepower Mazda 4-cylinder engines. Well, that's got to be Roland and Pearley trying to get back to this leading group. They've got 15 minutes to do it. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility, and it does look as though Roland is dragging Chris Noons in the Soul Red Crystal Mazda, the number 32 from JTR. I think they are coming back. They're not too far from Piscatel now.
No, and they do have a third of this race still to go. A third of the race means a lot of opportunities. For Chris Noons, though, he is leading the rookie class as it is right now. It's not enough, though, if Sam Paley finishes second. The gap between them will still be 120 points, and I don't think he can overcome that in one race. Not with Paley driving as strongly as he's been.
Well, he's just gone by Celine Roland, one of the championship contenders. So he's moved up a position. That's more points for Chris Noons. Up into fifth position overall. Sam Paley 2 positions behind him now is Altman. Altman has gone through on Paley, so Paley now has dropped to third in the rookie championship. So again, this is going to be counting up. The calculator is out with Shea Adam. This time of the season,
point difference.
Right.
Between those two.
At this time of the season, every single change. We've seen this in other championships, in IMSA, in the developmental championships. And now Piscatel, performance fading on that number 89 car. He's dropped the spot. Chris Noons goes through into fourth overall, but it doesn't change his position in the rookie points. He has to get further up the field and try and put more gap between himself, Altman and Paley. He could do with Luke Mars. Actually, Luke Mars is driving very well, and he's only half a second away from Sam Paley. Paley's got to be careful here not to fade in the last few moments. In fact, Paley is very close to Mars. Altman's gone by, Paley and Mars are together, and side by side, Celine Roland in that multicoloured Autism Speaks car to the final corner. Chris Noons is not racing that car. It will not make any difference to his rookie points whether he finishes ahead of that car behind it or ahead of the car that is following him, Justin Piscatel, or behind it. Paley has got back ahead of Jensen Altman, and Luke Mars is trying to join that party. We're going to have to keep an eye on these battles further down the top 10, particularly for the destination of the rookie championship share.
Yeah, for sure, because $80,000 makes a very big difference, but that only goes to the Rookie of the Year. It's not second place Rookie of the Year. Chris Noons knows that. He knows he has to get and stay ahead of Sam Paley. And Paley, by the way, back now ahead of Altman. That gives Paley a bit more of a buffer. He's had a more consistent season, whereas Noons, yes, he got the win, but he's also had a lot fewer trophies than Paley has.
Paley cannot afford another incident. Remember, he was battling for the overall lead of the race at turn 7, which is where the leaders have just gone through now, and got caught up. That dropped him way down. Made no difference at all that most of the cars that went by him were not in the rookie championship, and of course he's battling on 2 fronts really. Looks like he's just lost that position again as well. Altman has through. Oh, and I think Mars has gone through as well. So Sam Paley's now dropped to 4th position. We'll keep an eye on the battle at the head of the field. Carter, Thomas, Wagner still battling for 1st, 2nd and 3rd, but with traffic playing a part as well now, as Michelin Raceway was just pulling out of the way in the McCumbee-McAleer racing car. Shit.
That was Savannah Little, who
was Savannah Little.
63,
right.
But Moise Uretsky has gone missing.
Right. Oh, yes, correct. As they went across the line, it was Luke Mars Jensen Altsman, and Sam Pearley. So they are second, third and fourth. Pearley now fourth position, and he's got a 3-second gap in the Rookie Championship standings to Aaron Johnson, who is the next car and the next rookie back. So we'll need to keep an eye up for that Provision Motorsport number 24 when we watch for the black number 28 of Sam Pearley. If you're around the circuit at the moment, listening in on 98.1 FM, great racing, sports car racing at its finest. 45 minutes of action from start to finish. Pearley hanging on to the back, and a spin for
Woody,
for the Woodcourt distribution number 82, Woody Hyman. But he's got that car pointing in the right direction. Aaron Johnson into the top 10 from the back of the grid.
Yeah.
He was one place off the back of the grid, remember. We started Drake Kemper last because he was late to the grid. Drake's got up to 13, Johnson up to 10th position.
Aaron was last, John, because his sway bar was loose at the beginning of qualifying. He came into the pit lane, and the car put him up on the team put him up on jack stands. That was not allowed. So all of his times were disqualified because they didn't ask permission of the race officials before working on the car.
End of the season, easy to forget the basics. Very costly though, so little time to make up any errors. But Aaron's done a very good job indeed, and sits 5th in this race for the rookies. 10th overall. Down to the money laps now, and that is a saying that is often coined, but it is absolutely pertinent here in Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup. Well over $500,000 will be handed out at the end of this 2021 season. 8 minutes to go. Carter, Thomas Wagner, Roland Nunes, Piscatel. Then this intriguing battle of the rookies. Mars, Altsman and Pearley. Another spinner. Michelin Raceway. Well, we knew he'd gone missing, so he's got going again.
More than 2 minutes in the final sector a few laps ago, and then had a whoopsie. Is that coming into 4?
Down the hill, correct.
Looks like it. Yep.
I think he's got maybe not. I thought he had a left rear tyre going down there, but he was just overstretching the capabilities of himself and the car down through 4, leaned on the car a little bit too much, and eventually the laws of physics, which can be very unforgiving, took over. Top 4 together now, with Roland now back on the back of the leading trio. Michael Carter, Jared Thomas, Gresham Wagner. What a good drive back by Gresham. Then Roland fighting back himself from dropping a few positions at turn 7. Then Nunes leading the Rookie Championship. Jensen Altsman goes up into second in that rookie standings in this race. In 7th overall with Mars, then Pearley. Johnson is closing in and is now only a couple of seconds behind Sam Pearley. So that is one we've got to keep an eye on. The black car in 9th position, and Johnson, as we've reported, charging from the back of the grid, has still got performance in his BF Goodrich tyres and his Mazda MX-5 from Provision Motorsport. At the front of the field, Carter, Thomas still. Thomas working with Roland, and they'll go down the inside and they'll both drag through to the bottom of the hill. Pick your braking spot, guys, side by side for second and third now. Thomas leads for JTR. Carter second. This is going to go up the line, Shea.
Yeah, but I'm wondering who's going to get the award for the 10 points, for leading the most laps, because right now it seems like it's going to go to Michael Carter, but he needs to make sure that he stays out front so that somebody like Celine Rayon doesn't come through and steal that away. That's
a very good point, actually, with the championship so tight. Huge slide there by Gresham Wagner going through turn 1. This has not at all been a race where the leaders have paced themselves. There was a little bit of jousting and jabbing at the start of the race, but pretty much from around about 10-15 minutes in, last 2/3 of the race, it has been absolutely flat out. They're holding the gap between themselves and the chasing pack. In fact, they've probably just dropped away a little bit. Piscatel, Paley. Oh, Paley back up into 7th. So that is huge for the Rookie Championship.
Oh, yeah. That puts him 100 points clear of Chris Nunes for the time being. We'll have to see where it shakes out at the end of this one. But Paley, if he's second, that is actually 120. So an even better buffer.
So he's made up a couple of positions on the last lap. Obviously, he's listening in on 98.1 FM and was rather disturbed by my suggestion that Aaron Johnson was catching him up. And he's found some pace and made up 2 positions, as has Gresham Wagner, who muscles his way down the inside into turn 10 and tries to take second position from Michael Carter. Michael's not having any of that. That slowed the exit of Wagner, which means Celine Roland can dive down the inside at turn 12, the final corner. Wagner, 2 BF Goodridges into the red Georgia clear on the exit of the final corner. He'll defend into turn 1. Oh, he turns defence into attack and goes back into 4th. Check that, into 3rd position as Thomas leads from Carter in 2nd, and a great fight back from Gresham Wagner. Looked like he was going to lose ground, and I thought he was defending from the cars behind him, but braked super late into turn 1. Great move, Shane.
But the important thing is, John, if that was the last lap of the race, Gresham Wagner finished 4th because Celine Roland had him at the line.
Correct. That's a very good point. It's a short run to the line here. If you're going to make an overtake on the last lap, you need to do it down into turn 10, or if you're very brave, get side by side coming under the Fox Factory Bridge and try and hang on the inside of the corner and compromise your competitor. It's a very, very short run to the checkered flag, which will come up in somewhere around about 3 minutes' time. First of 2 races to decide the 2021 Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup, presented by BF Goodrich here at Road Atlanta. And the top 5, well, frankly, if you had a decent-sized picnic blanket, you could throw it over all of them and you'd cover the whole quintet. Again, slight mistake by Carter, tried to attack, gets pushed back down. He's now down into, Wagner, pushed back down into 5th position. Carter still in 2nd, Roland in 3rd. Nunes now up into 4th. Gresham Wagner into 5th. Wagner must have overtaken more people than anybody, because he dropped down to 10th and he's overtaken everybody up to 2nd at least once and possibly 2 or 3 times.
Yep, you're right about that. I just noticed that Jared Thomas's bumper is starting to flap in the wind on the right rear corner of it. So there is a chink in the armor of the 96 Silver Knight in Shining Armor leading the way. He's got a little bit of an aerodynamic drag, which does have a massive effect here with these long straights.
It's a good point, Shay. It is just outside of the silhouette of the car. I don't think he'll get the black and orange mechanical flag, the meatball flag for that, particularly not with 1 minute and 44 to go. We will have one more lap after this, so expect to see the white flag on the start-finish gantry. Oh, hello, it's getting serious. It's getting serious. Michael Carter is starting to flash the headlights. That's when you know it's all going to break out. We've had some close finishes. We've had some drama in the closing stages of these Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 races this 2021 season, and this one looks to be no different. Carter leads it. Thomas drops down into 3rd. Celine Roland goes through into 2nd. Wagner maybe in the best position in 4th at the moment. Maybe he can pick and choose. Chris Nunes at the moment just struggling to keep on the pace of in 5th, Chris Nunes just struggling to stay with the pace of the top 4. 2.54 miles to go. Piscatel in a rather lonely 6th position. Then that rookie battle with Paley, Mars, Aaron Johnson and Jensen Altsman now back down to 10th position. Peter Atwater not that far away from them as well. But the final lap at the front of the field comes down to 5 Mazda MX-5s for this first of two races to decide the 2021 championship season. And it's Carter. Carter controlling the race here.
My heart is going crazy right now, John. I have no idea which one of these 5 cars is going to win the race, or if any of them will, if they'll just wind up in a giant ball of carbon. We've got reports that Drake Kemper is slow on the back straight as well, so this can come into play. Traffic for these lead 5 as Chris Nunes drops the wheel exiting 6. He manages to pull it back together, and Kemper made it into the pit lane, by the way, so it should be a clear run to the checkered flag. Michael Carter is exactly where he wants to be. He told me yesterday he would have this planned out. Let's see if the plan comes to fruition.
Quick note that Connor Zilic has got the fastest lap of the race so far, although he's not running at the moment. Do you want to be leading on the final lap? Jared Thomas thinks he's got the run down the inside on the leader, Michael Carter, down into 10. It's these two. Can any one of the trio behind make hay? If these two falter, they're side by side. They're 3 across the track coming under the Fox Factory Bridge. It's another classic Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 finish, almost 4 wide in the final corner, and Gresham Wagner sideways across the line has won it. Wagner has won it on the lock stops opposite lock. Absolutely extraordinary. Wagner, who dropped down to the bottom end of the top 10, has come through the field on the run to the line. I said you had to be on the inside if you were going to do it. Took a huge amount of curb, completely sideways, no lift, and the width of a BF Goodrich tyre has sealed the deal for Gresham Wagner and for Spark Performance. From a race where it looked like his championship was going awry, he has pulled it out in the last yard, the very last yard, and he was sideways out of the final corner using every one of the 180 horsepower. He kept his right foot buried, and it's Spark Performance and Gresham Wagner who have won the first race of 2 this weekend at Road Atlanta. Shea Adam, once again, another classic finish, and it all started at turn 10 with Thomas and Carter together. Wagner positioning himself for the over and under, got to the inside at the exit of turn A. For a moment, I think there was touch between all 3 of them at one stage, and I thought we were going to get 4 wide at one spot. As Chris Nunes tried to join in, he thought better of it. Down the inside from Wagner, huge amount of curb. He got past Carter, but I thought Thomas was in the best position. But Gresham Wagner was not to be denied. That is a picture. I hope somebody's got the still of that, of him absolutely sideways, because if that wins him the championship, what a pass. What a pass. Did not panic, did not overcorrect, did not lift off the throttle. He let the car right itself. He rode it, and there's a big bump there as well. That is quality stuff. That is Idemitsu Mazda MX-5, exactly what we've expected this year.
Yep, we've got 15 thousandths of a second between first and second place, and just about a tenth between first and third. So that brings Gresham Wagner's point total to 4,080. Michael Carter still in second, 3,930 by my count. And Aaron Johnson, congratulations, hard charger to that young man.
Let's give you the Mazda unofficial results. Gresham Wagner wins it. Jared Thomas in second. Michael Carter makes up the podium. Chris Nunes and Celine Roland, the top 5, separated by 1/3 of a second. The championship hangs in the balance. We have one more race to decide the 2021 Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 Cup. You don't want to miss it. Join us when we come back tomorrow to crown a champion. Trophies are on the line, reputations can be made. Oh, and let's not forget, $250,000. Shea Adam was alongside me, John Hindhaugh, in the Global Broadcast Centre. Thanks to our colleagues trackside and at Charlotte. Idemitsu Mazda MX-5 has once again delivered the goods.